Cool. So our first question comes from Nick from Invin Global. Did you expect to be put back into the starting roster after C9 went 0-3 last week?
I didn't really expect it because of the result, but I had a feeling that at some point during the split, I would be given another chance, yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Next question comes from Michael Kelly, Esports. After not playing on stage with Cloud9's LCS roster in over a month, how long did it take you to get comfortable on stage tonight?
I mean, I did play on stage at MSI, so I wasn't too uncomfortable with the physical stage, but I can even tell that we've lost some chemistry as a team, or like with me specifically. We play a lot on top side these days, whereas when I was playing the team, it was more of a, depending on draft. So I noticed that given how we played, in spring for the most part, and even at MSI, it was more about the draft and more about, the picks, not actually about the players. And I felt like now we're playing on top lane a lot, or around solos mostly. So there's a bit of change in team dynamic, I guess, while I've been gone.
Okay, next question comes from Joseph from Esports. With you now back in the LCS starting lineup, what are the differences about the team since the last time you were with the team?
I think, like I just mentioned earlier, that the team is heavily focused on solo lanes these days. That is also kind of the meta. And the meta right now is very heavily centered around the bruisers, Viego, Set, Lee Sin, those kind of champions, and the enchanters, also solo laners. So it's natural, but also I can tell that our team as a whole is playing around top and mid a lot more than we were before. Beforehand, we were more of a mid-bot focused team for the most part. At least we would at least give more witches to the bot lane. In scrims, we are playing more on bot now than we were before while I was gone. So just mostly that, more top side centric than before.
Okay, those are all the pre-submitted questions. We'll now open up the floor to live questions. Please raise your hand. Michael Kelly, you can go first.
Hi, thank you. Zven, after playing against Academy level talent for 3 consecutive weeks, did it take a while to get readjusted to playing against LCS level talent again tonight?
No, I don't think so. I think Academy players are worse for sure than LCS players, but I don't think I got worse while I was in Academy, so I don't have any trouble readjusting. I still think me and Vulcan are a really good ball lane, so I don't feel any problems adjusting stage play again.
Okay, Shay, you can ask your question.
Hi, Zven. I'm just wondering, speaking of Academy, is there anyone in Academy that stood out to you as like, hey, they need to be in an LCS main team?
I think in general the 100 Thieves team is pretty decent. Not any player in particular, but they do seem like a good team overall. I think their mid laner, Ryoma, is doing pretty well right now. So there's that. I don't really think I actually didn't play against all the teams. I didn't play against Liquid or Dignitas, so it's hard to tell. But I don't think there's any player that's like a huge standout player. But some teams, like 100 Thieves, are definitely above average in Academy.
All right, Digon, you can ask your question.
Hey, brother. There's a lot of talk about not knowing what the reason was for the position move. Do you can you shed some light on like what you were told, why they made the move to King?
No, I can't really do that right now. Sorry.
No worries, man. Gotta ask.
Okay, Faisal, you can ask your question.
Hi, Sven.
Hey.
You have the unique ability to relate to other players that have gone through roster switches. What was it like for you, and what advice can you give to them to get through? Might be a bit confusing for them, or a strange situation for them to be sent down to Academy or put onto the sideline when they're accustomed to playing on the LCS.
I think it always depends why you're in Academy. If you're sent to Academy because you're just not playing well, then obviously you have to focus on the gameplay and the improvement. If it's for behavior reasons, or there's another player in Academy that's better than you, then it's a whole different story. So I think it depends on why you're there. But I'd say in Academy, I had a good time there. I think I taught the players a lot of things, and it improved my leadership skills for what it's worth. And I think if you're there for gameplay reasons, it can be hard because a lot of people in the academy are okay with just being mediocre, and the practice is generally less, and there's a lot less stress in academy. So it's hard to like improve to the LCS level while you're in academy. I think it has to be like individual people putting in more effort than others to stand out. So if you're in academy and you're trying to get LCS, but because your gameplay isn't good enough, then you really have to put in the hours yourself outside of scrims.
Thank you. All right, Shay, you can go ask your question.
Hi, I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on the Team Liquid and the Dignitas roster changes we've seen. Does it give Cloud9 a little bit extra confidence contesting that top 3 spot?
I mean, obviously, I think Alphari and Santorin are both better players than Jenkins and Armeo, although I do think Armeo and Jenkins are some of the better academy players, even though I didn't play against them in academy matches. I do think they're pretty decent. But obviously, Alphari and Santorin are better, so it does hurt Team Liquid's overall level of gameplay. As for Dignitas, I don't know what's happening to their team. I don't think that it's as big of a change as Alphari and Santorin in terms of like level of gameplay. But I think that Dignitas do rely more on Dardoch than TL does in Santorin. So the jungle change is bigger for Dignitas, whereas TL relied a lot on Alphari, but Dig doesn't rely that much on Soligo, I feel like. So I think the jungle change for Dignitas is kind of huge, and the top lane change for Alphari and TL is pretty big. I think it does make those teams worse. Yeah, I don't think that this version of Dignitas is necessarily better than the other one. I don't think so at all. I think the old version was better, but I don't know what's going on in their teams, so it's something hard to like comment from the outside. We don't know all the facts.
Thank you. You're up, Dion.
Your academy team has some vets in there, some people that definitely have opinionated ways to play. What was that experience like, knowing that you've got people that know how they want to play the game, and I'm very confident that you know how you also want to play the game?
I think in academy, a lot of the gameplay is very unpolished. People don't actually know what to play or how they want to play. That's actually not the case. So you come in there and there's a lot of unforced errors you got to clean up. People die to ganks a lot. People die to random stuff happening all the time. A lot of solo kills here and there. And the game is very heavily centric around laning phase. And then it just ends. There's not much macro in the mid game. It's very heavily focused on laning phase, who's ahead, and then just dragons and team fighting until someone just dies and it's over. I would say that academy gameplay is pretty low level for the most part, and it's very heavily centric around lane phase and mechanics rather than like team coordination. So there's that.
Thank you. Faisal, you can go next.
Thank you. Sven, you just spoke about how academy is more focused on laning phase and macro. If you could make one suggestion or one change to how academy plays, what would it be to raise that level of play for the developing NA talent?
The first thing I did when I came to the academy team was try to bring up how often people are dying to ganks. Jungle tracking these days is actually really easy. Most junglers do 4 or 5, and before that it was 6 camps when it was Udyr versus Rumble versus Morgana type champions. Aaron was doing 6 camps and a crab, right? So dying to ganks early game is really bad for someone who's professional at the game, and people would just die to like random ganks or called ganks, roam timers from supports that he's gonna go from base to mid, and just cleaning up unforced errors and then overall making macro. I think a lot of times, like I said earlier, the game is actually focused on laning phase. It just happens to be that most games are decided in laning phase because people don't have good basics and fundamentals. So I try to, talk about how you set up a dragon, how you can give a dragon for silent control, these kind of things, and avoiding dying to ganks early in the game to play for a certain win condition, making plans, having like an overall plan in the game is going to help you not make unforced errors. So just those kind of things are what I was focusing on while I was in academy.
Sorry. Thank you. Shay, you'll be the last question.
Yeah, you're going against 100T and CLG for rest of the weekend. Are you confident going into these matches?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're not that good right now, but I think we can beat them. Yeah, I think one of these had a good game today, or decent game against Dignitas today. Their ball lane is always very good in lane. They play strong laners for the most part, and they play aggressive, and their whole team plays around their champions or their lane as much as they can. So it's always a little scary going against them because they play heavy bot focused and they draft for it. But I do have confidence that we can beat them. I think CLG is a team that they know they have flaws and they're okay with that, and they play around those flaws and they draft around those flaws. So I like that CLG is one of the teams that can admit that they aren't perfect and they aren't trying to be. So CLG is one of those teams that have found a way to make their players and their team work, and I can respect that. I can respect that a lot. So I think it won't be easy, but I have confidence that we can win. Today's game was not a good showing of our level of play, I think.
All right, and that completes our scrum. Thank you, Sven.
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.